The Red Wings, though, big win yesterday. I think if you hadn't watched the Red Wings yet this year, I think that was a good game to get into because it illustrated everything about this year's Red Wings team, I think, D-Mac, in that they shot out of the gates. You know, Pittsburgh came in, got a goal real quick. You're like, oh, okay, the bottom's falling out. Then they dominated the rest of the game. And then, you know, they had some leakage defensively, kind of let Pittsburgh back in, but in the end they closed it out. Because, D-Mac, this is what this Red Wings team is. Clearly better, a lot better, worlds better. Because they got a primetime player.
Absolutely, but still questions.
Obviously, exactly. And you know the questions.
But if they play like they did last night, right? And you can agree. I mean, I would say that was a solid 50-minute effort. We're a little slow out of the gate, which is something I'm sure Derek Lalonde will address. But they came back and they fight. They fight. And here's the thing, Neal. You know that they have the ability throughout the lineup, not just their top guys, not just DeBrincat, who you're talking about, who has come in as our prolific 40-goal guy and has been hot and stayed there, and we can say that, but it's through the lineup. Andrew Kopp gets a couple last night. You look at how the new guys Comfer is added. We talked about Sprong and throughout the lineup. You look at Perron in the power play yesterday. So power play definitely. I was telling you before the show, if we look at the Lions, you say what's their number one asset? Offensive line. The Red Wings, their power play unit.
Best power play in the league.
Yeah, the best, and it's something that the eyeball test, Neal, and you said that every time they're on the ice, it looks like they can score. Just to the confidence they have, the way they're moving it around. And, that's what I expected through the additions of Gostisbehere, Petrie, DeBrincat, and with the talent that we've had out there. So they're humming. Now, again, this is the way that the game's going to be. You'd expect, a lot of times with a 4-1 lead, other teams shut it down. Nobody's going to shut it down. It's, there's going to be these moments, but they persevered and were able to win the game. Shout out to Ville Husso. He plays like that, makes those saves when he needs to. We will definitely be a playoff team. So it doesn't get any easier than that. But, this is the norm. I was also saying, you know what it is, right? And the biggest thing, not only adding these guys that I mentioned, right, for their talent, but look at what they mean to the other guys on the team, right? You look at Lucas Raymond, who we all said he's got to have a comeback sort of season, right? He's added some weight. We see him out of the gate being used throughout the lineup, being effective. Guys like that. Andrew Kopp, not just a couple goals, but, it's adding the Compers and guys like this. I was mentioning to you before, right? When these guys get around each other and they're playing this and you have to practice, it goes back to when I played, when we played. The grind line never touched. It's like killing penalties in practice every game against the Russian 5 and Eiserman. That you never touch the puck, right? so it's playing with these talented guys. So these guys are enjoying. You can see that they're pushing each other. Buzzing is the word that I use because this, like the one eyeball test too. And I'll go to Mikey with this because this is the one thing you can see from up where he watches the game from the press box is the speed of this team is like half a step, if not a step, throughout the lineup better.
Oh, no. Up and down the lineup, speed, you can go defensemen, forwards, whatever. They are 100% a way faster team and just a way faster team than last year. 100%.
Yeah, so that's the one thing, Neal, is with the power play, what it brings you is it's sort of the deterrent. You brought up a great point too, Mikey, that I think should be addressed, is the fact that, look at Dylan Larkin dropping his gloves and stuff like this. Now, when your captain sets the tone and you don't want him always doing that and against the guy that he did in Peterson, it's a fair trade-off. But you see, without Dylan Larkin being able to match up because he's in the box for 5 minutes or longer than that, you can see how the ice surface changed. So that's something just to be aware of. But again, when your captain steps up and does that, you got to make sure you win the game, and they did.
No, 100%. He kind of just set the tone. Obviously, in any given game, you don't want to take Larkin off the ice for 8 minutes in the third period, and they did let a few squeaky ones get past them. But overall, they played good defense to finish out the game, and they capped it off. So you can't really complain. Shout out to Ville Husso and shout out to DeBrincat, leading the NHL in points. Who would have thought, man?
And that's the biggest thing right there. And oh, by the way, 10% of the way to a 50-goal season already.
Already.
So there you go. I'm glad I facilitated that trade and got it done.
You know what? It's things
Thank
that
you,
you do
Neal.
behind the scenes that people will never see.
No, they won't, and I don't want them to. You know, I just want everybody to be happy, so that's why I did it. You know, I was working for the people there. But no, he's everything we thought he would be.
Hey, Neal, Dan Wood says, eye test, ? Stats are the solo delineator. Not in my book. Not in my world. Stats can be misleading a lot of the time.
Well, and D-Mac, like, look, you say stats are the delineator, and this is like the Sam Flannels of the world and stuff like that. Like when I talk about nuance, is Alex DeBrincat going to score 90 goals this year?
Yes.
Is he is he Alexander Coffey?
Yes.
Is he Alexander Mogilny circa 1992? No, he's not going to get 90 goals this year. So if stats are your only delineator, you think he's going to. You know, like that's crazy. So is he going to score 70 power play goals?
Yes.
Yes. Book it.
Bring him home.
Bring him home. You know my favorite thing about yesterday? There were a couple things. Number one, Jamison Williams in the building to sound the pregame horn.
Hell
And
yeah.
I saw BMG's tweet yesterday. He got a little footage of that. You know what I liked about that? The building was going crazy for the man.
Oh, yeah. He was loving it, too. I seen some videos of him actually watching the game and him reacting to the Wings winning. He was loving it, man. And fans are showing him
That's
love.
that city culture we're talking about, ingrained, right? And I know from our time, we were the biggest Lions fans and Tigers fans, you know, to the day, even all the rest of the guys. So it's becoming a city thing. I thought that was cool, too. And it was, you know, shout out. And Dan, I know you were kidding. It was just a way to, because that's how that's Sam Flannel's whole argument, isn't it?
Yes.
What are the stats?
What are the stats? So, you know, again, you can book a 90-goal season for DeBrincat. Book it. If he doesn't, it's a failure. Get him out of here. I'll make the moves, and I'll get him out of town if he doesn't get 90 goals, D-Mac. So just let him know, okay, next time you're down there. Lion Slappy, 3-game, fellas. Yes, it's exciting, but let's slow down some. And here's the deal, though, Lion Slappy. Look, is the DeBrincat pace sustainable? No, it is not sustainable.
Yes, it
However, 90 goals.
90 goals.
70 power play goals.
Yep.
I'll take it for the fantasy squad. Oh, by the way, whose fantasy team is in first place?
Hey, yo.
Larkin, DeBrincat, back to back.
And back to how's Verona doing?
Now he's got an assist in 2 games.
But the Rasmussen. Are you mad you didn't make the Rasmussen?
You could probably still get him.
Yeah, he's still out there. Like
Okay.
I could still get him, but Perron is also still out there, and I had him queued up, but I was like, man, and I'm a fan of the stack. Spenny and I talk about the stack all the time. If you can get a good stack,
if you can, dude.
but a triple stack is aggressive.
But not with the power play unit,
Yeah.
right? That's like saying in the past, 3-4 years, you had Stamkos, Kucherov, and Hedman. You gonna get mad at that?
No, of course not.
That's a gift with the way that this power play is rolling right now and how Perron's being used on the first unit.
WoodwardSports.com chat thread. Let's go Red Wings Party. Big D Energy brought DeBrincat home. We did.
We did.
Bring him home.
We did do it. Just a couple of texts. Steve O baby, Neal, I'm drinking the Red Wings Kool-Aid and it's really damn good. It is good. It is good. I do enjoy this, man, because we forget what it was like. And hey, I told you guys, we got a taste of this late May, early June with the Tigers. Just a little taste, just like a small plate restaurant appetizer where they bring it out and you're like, oh, that's it? Like we got that with the Tigers for a minute, for like a week. But I think this has some staying power to where, we don't just cycle back for football every single weekend and then spend the week building up to football. Like there's something to get you through.
You got some sustenance.
Yes.
Right, and it ain't cream of wheat.
Right.
No, not at all. This is like you're having a nice little meal because the consistency. And here's the thing, Neal, we're not like getting out ahead of ourselves because you still see where the misses are. And if they can button those up, like I said, that 10 minutes, that's not going to hurt you. It doesn't get any easier, right?
Right.
You got some heavy trudging, into this weekend going into Ottawa, who's a team that, for lack of a better term, the proverbial 4-point game, because these are the guys you're going to be fighting, and these are guys. Ottawa's going to be your rival in this Eastern Conference for the next 5 years.
To break it, 2-goal game loading.
Ottawa and Buffalo, you watch the three of these teams, Detroit, Ottawa, Buffalo, just sort of move their way up in the next few years. So,
is this going to be the Seattle Seahawks, Ottawa Senators?
you know what? You're saying, who's the team that's going to be your Achilles? You know, I find, and you look at the big thing is, if anybody doesn't know, is that their number one, one of their number one guys, Josh Norris, who was out all last year, and really 2 years ago, 30-goal guy, he had a couple last night. Right, so he's back. Yeah, I don't know, Neal. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I think that the worst case scenario, you want to make the Ottawas and the Buffaloes like we made the Chicagos and the St. Louis instead of the Dallases, Colorados.
Hoof-Hearted says Ottawa isn't built to last. They can't handle a few injuries at the top end. Well, Hoof-Hearted,
nobody can.
Neither can we. Like, let's be real. What's the change this year? What's different? There's a dude in town, a legit dude, a legit goal scorer with a resume that's going to make you pay. And when you dick around and you go in the penalty box, it's not about who's going to beat you up or anything. It's who's going to make you choke on a power play goal.
See, and to Hoof-Hearted's point is that if you're going to look at the depth of our organization, and you saw it, Austin Czarnik, look at him get called up. He's an NHL player. We got NHL ready guys in the minor. We could sustain it a little bit more, but you can't sustain the high-end scoring power play. That comes from elite talent.
And there's no substitute for that.
There's no substitute
because
for that.
Those guys are not down in the minors. Because those guys come up to play.